Alright, another trade recap. Today we took an L on both accounts. I blew up the hybrid life account, which is like very poor room of error, and I pretty much lost all the profits and a bit more on the funded account. Very unfortunate, but at least we were right with our setup overall, I would say bias. And yeah, now let's get over it. All right, now the first trade was on EURUSD. On the daily, we can see yesterday with like a huge distribution to the upside, a pretty huge candle. And typically after this kind of distribution, we get consolidation. As you can see on the 1 hour, it was consolidating, which makes perfectly sense. Now, the thing is, I thought it might be a bit double bias in terms of we might get a larger retracement because we had such an immense distribution and also it would fit perfectly because we have here a pretty huge farewell in the 4 hours. Um, like say in the 1 hour we trace that much far to the downside that it gets into this one farewell gap, which is at the same time in the middle of this 4 hour farewell gap. That's the reason why I was feeling like that it might be that it's possible that's going to be double bias, but only in terms of retracement or continuation. Now, anyways, after this distribution, as expected, we could see it was consolidating. So this means with the confluence overall, I am still bullish. So it was pretty much just about do we get a retracement or not, and in a bigger scale. Because I mean, we already got here the retracement, which got perfectly into this Ferrell gap, which got validated, was going to the upside, and then it kept consolidating. Now, fine, we got that, so let's scale down to the 5 minutes for entries, because it feels like, okay, in case if it wants to go to the downside, then in terms of manipulation on the 1 hour. But yeah, I didn't feel like that it's going to be that that the probability is going to be that high. So 5 minutes, I was looking at the price, I saw, okay, it was going to this farewell gap, but the 5 minutes was going down. And this manipulation, pretty much, it happened so fast that I got convinced and then I entered off the sweep. But the thing is, I felt like, yeah, I was like at the moment like convinced because it happened so fast, but it felt more like an impulse instead of a decision based off a rational and sustainable analysis. Because even so, when I was placing it right there, I still felt like, okay, it's not like a very clean entry. Like it's not very clean. Let's say market conditions on the 5 minutes, like an entry model, because it's a bit like too uneven or uncertain. If you get what I'm saying. So yeah, and also if I would have been able to read the signs, like to read between the lines, then I would have observed that, and I wouldn't have pretty much not taken this trade. Because at the beginning, first of all, I thought that this survival gap was not being validated here already, but I just observed it later. This survival gap already got validated by this week. Even so, here it was going down, of course, yeah, because it got disrespected right there. Now the thing is, what I observed from the beginning, what a good entry model would be is enter off this farewell gap right there. And if I would enter this farewell gap right there, I also could be like more, safe with my stop loss, because again, I wasn't thinking that it's going to go to the downside because we were kind of getting higher lows, like this move to the upside like that. So that's the reason why, that this would be like kind of the final confirmation to use this farewell gap without being concerned that it might, go lower and sweep something. So overall, this is like for me a pretty secure place, and yeah, that's the reason why I rearranged the drawings, because you can see I would probably enter here on the top from this favela gap, stop loss a bit below on the bottom from the favela gap, and then targeting either this Asia high or this swing high. Well, this Asia high would be like a very comfortable scalp, to be honest. I mean, still almost a 6 RR. Yeah, because this would have been like the profit targets if I would have entered off here. But with entering from this revival gap, pretty much this would be like the profit target, and it's still a very good trade. Yeah, but again, I kind of got stopped out. I re-entered, and then I actually got a bit very, like very confused, like a bit overwhelmed. So I had brain fog, and then I started to think perhaps I'm wrong with the high time frame bias, and maybe it's going to go to the downside. So I was actually going short. This is like how much tired and brain foggy I was. But then I just closed it pretty fast because I was like, it's a bit too uncertain. USDCHF was taking a look at it. I thought perhaps it's going to go to the upside because with the sweep right there. But from the last video, what I said, the sweep is not particularly like a fixed rule confirmation. It's definitely going to reverse. It's just like a good indication. But in this scenario, I mean, it could also be like solely reason alone to cause a good retracement, so we can get like good entries. But the thing is, on different platforms, it didn't even go that far to this level. So it didn't even sweep the swing low on different platforms. This is like where I kind of got confused because we were not getting a lower low, and this was very confusing. So yeah, but anyways, nevertheless, because I also tried to take a long right there because then I thought, okay, maybe I was wrong with the high time from bias. And then I was also taking along here, got stopped out, of course. And then I started to see the thing. Okay, yeah, we have here very clear resistance right there going on. So this is going to go to the downside, sweeping this Asia low. But the thing is, we don't have like very, very clean entry models. I mean, we have technically um, here an order block, but yeah, it's not like the way I would like, enter this position like that. But anyways, that's that's the thing. So yeah, no real entry, no very good point of interest, no real entry model, so no trades on that. Then I also wanted to take a trade on GJ. I took the trade, but I closed it because this entry model, this wasn't even an entry model. This was like just, I was trying to have the bias, but this was basically not an entry model. Um, as you can see, I think yeah, it's pretty close to its TP, like the fictional TP. If I would have taken this trade, and this all overall, I would say the market conditions are like very very given for this trade. I mean, look at this, just very tender and nice, and I can show you how the setup is because this alone is of course not enough. So what do we see on the 4 hours? We had the sweep of this. Also a sweep on the 1 hour, no closure above it. So I was like pretty much okay. It's going to go to the downside. And then I was watching price. It was getting to this 1 hour farewell gap. Got disrespected. I was looking at well, it kind of got respected, but on a very very low scale. And then I was like, okay, yeah, that's not really the entry. Even if this would have been like the point where it would have been dropping down, we don't have any point of interest, no entry model. So I kept watching it, and then I was getting above, I was getting to the next fair value gap on the 1 hour. And yeah, so I see, okay, it got into this fair value gap to the 1 hour. Let's get to the 5 minutes, and then I saw it just literally swept this swing high, and then I immediately put a drawing where I saw this, and this just makes perfectly sense because I'm still bearish on this on the higher time frame. It was getting to the second fair value gap. We had the sweep on the 5 minutes, and as you can see, it works out like very, very beautiful, like an immediate recession after that, and it just makes sense. The market condition also fit well together. We have a very good confluence overall, or at least like enough confidence that it is sustainable and it makes sense. So yeah, overall, it's a bit unfortunate that I was taking this huge L on the funded account after I had like yesterday. I was able to make it back, but yeah, happens when you're not like prepared enough in terms of physically, mentally, and stuff like that. After I blew the hybrid life account, I just withdrew some money from my crypto position, which I didn't want to do, but I just withdrew some money and bought another one, a hybrid life account, and then I was able to take, to make some small gains and withdraw that to my life account so I can buy food again, to pay off the bills and stuff like that. And yeah, so I have to be more careful. I left a bit, a bit profits, well, a bit floating above break even, so I can still, have this for commission, because commissions are like $5 per lot size, a bit more expensive than my broker I typically use. But yeah, so overall, what can I say? Yeah, of course, it's a bit unfortunate, but I think when I reflect on that, I could collect a very, very important data point. In other words, something which I was aware of, but I didn't know exactly, let's say, the details in terms of when I know, based on my physical condition, how I feel, when can I be like, can make like, sustainable decision taking based on rational analysis. And this is when my eyes are not sore anymore. Of course, yeah, I need to take my sleep. I need to take the time in the morning after I wake up to do my routine to, oiling up the engine. But this alone can still, make me feel tired or something like that, make me kind of feel a bit pain foggy. So I think after all those weeks and like all those months, I would say I figured it out. As long as my eyes feel sore, it's better to, take my time to get like really awake. Like also when 20 or 30 minutes pass after you woke up, maybe you understand what I mean. You don't feel tired in terms of you could sleep again, but your eyes are kind of sore, so kind of brain foggy. So tomorrow I'm going to try something. I'm going to wake up even more earlier, 6 a.m., 6:30, something like that, and really, really, really take my time to, to hang out a bit. Like literally to hang out. Yeah, that's like pretty much hanging out, chilling, being comfortable, starting up the engine slowly, drinking a coffee until I'm like fully there. Like, I'm awake and I'm not, brain fog anymore. Because I didn't particularly feel that hardcore of brain fog, but if I have to be honest, I kind of was brain fog. My eyes were sore. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's like the best way to describe it, but yeah, just my eyes feel like kind of, yeah, sore. Right? It's yeah, basically sore. So yeah, so it pretty much aligns with everything I said from the last week. I need more attempts to adjust the trading frequency, and we are really getting somewhere, which is like very, 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 sobering to hear that. So yeah, with that being said, cheers.